All right, good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for joining this evening. I see a lot of familiar faces and a lot of people that I had the honor to work with this past year, especially through some very trying times. I'd first like to thank a lot of you, everybody on this call for doing what you did to get through the abbreviated 2020-2021 winter community-based basketball season. I think our efforts in November, December into early January kind of set the tone for the rest of the season and now into spring, because there was a way that we could do it in a safe and healthy way. And I think you guys should all be commended for all the effort that you put in and how we all banded together as MYBA member association. So tonight we're using this as kind of a kickoff and kind of an early glimpse as to what the MYAS staff is working on to again enhance the community-based youth basketball programming. And we're looking forward to a more normal 2021-2022 season. And I think with that, there were so many things early last winter, late last fall, and in preparation of the inaugural season of the MYBA that we wanted to do, and we wanted to make sure that it was ready to go and ready for example, trusted rankings was one of those big ones that we wanted to make sure that came to fruition. Well, with all the pauses and restarts and the necessity to have a return to participation manual, we didn't get to that. And I know that this year we are looking forward to, and even on Tuesday when I met with the MYBA steering committee, there were members on that group from all over the state. They had some great thoughts and opinions. Please know that right now, there are some things that we are moving forward with, but there's a lot of things that we still want your feedback. We got great feedback in the results that were sent in from that survey. We had, I think, 41 people respond back, wishing we could have more people, but that would have responded. But we got a lot of good things from that, and things that were kind of secured what we knew we needed to do to help facilitate this process. With that, I think the big thing that I want to stress tonight is that the MYAS is here to steer the ship, and that's simply all we want to do. This is the Minnesota Youth Basketball Alliance. As you see, we did not create the MYAS membership. This is the MYBA membership because it's by the associations for the associations. And we simply want to provide solutions for all of you to eliminate your time and burden, make your life easier. And if you choose to not take advantage of those solutions, that's okay. But we're just going to continue to provide those to your association, because ultimately our number one priority is protecting and serving winter community-based youth basketball. So before we get going any further, I want to introduce Jeremy Innes. He's the Associate Director at MYS. He'll be speaking in a few minutes. I believe we have Ashley Anzelon, who's in the basketball program. Dan Craighead's on, our Chief Business Development Officer. And I believe Rich Pennick's on, and Kevin Wilson. Those are two other gentlemen that work directly in basketball that a lot of you probably know. We also have Buddy Hemrick on, who is recently retired. He spent 26 years at the MYS as our officials coordinator, and we're very thankful and blessed for everything that he did over the last 26 years. He's staying on in a consulting role to really help us launch a couple things. Obviously, you all know that there is a shortage of officials in every sport that your kids probably participate in. And that's one of our big priorities and focuses for the next few years, is we need to work with the high school league, Minnesota hockey, Minnesota youth soccer, the JO volleyball, all those groups. And I've already started that process to make sure that we don't have a siloed approach in how we do that with recruitment and retainment of officials. Also on is Jeff Stoddelmeyer. He's a longtime MYS assigner. And again, between Buddy and Jeff, they're gonna share something with you that they've been working on that we feel would strengthen all, winter tournaments and strengthen you as associations, because I think the one trend that we're seeing is that those fees that are provided to the officials along with the assigning fees, we're not necessarily seeing consistency. And that's concerning, because what happens is as people say, oh, we'll just pay you 30 or 32 or 27. If there's no consistency, then ultimately the fees need to be adjusted somewhere. So I think if we can try to figure out a way to be all on the same page when it comes to consistency in pay for officials, along with appropriate training, screening, and education, I think that's a win-win for everybody involved in community-based youth basketball. Okay, so Jeremy, did I miss anything there?
Sounds like you got everything covered for the intro.
Okay, is there anybody I missed that's here on MY staff? Okay, all right, so I just kind of go through it. The next thing is that we're going to show you is just a quick solution for your organizations regarding team uniforms apparel. We know and understand that most of you have it. This is not, again, a way for us to try to schlep things on you or to try to sell you something. This is somebody that has been our supporter and our partner for the last 2 decades at the MYS and Signature Concepts, and we just wanted to pass along what they have to offer. If you don't take advantage of it, that's great. If you're confident in what's going on. So just some other things. We're going to recap last season, preview this season. We're going to kind of show the direction of where we're heading with the MYBA this year, and then talk about some focuses and initiatives that we feel are important because we have seen the results from the survey and the things that we know as a staff are going to continue to enhance programming within winter community-based youth basketball. So I'm going to turn it over here. We're going to watch a quick 2-minute video, and then we'll continue on in our discussion.
Think that volunteering could be so overwhelming? And let me guess, you spent hours on the phone, the order was late, and the design was crooked. At Signature Concepts, we're on your team. We're a trusted partner who's been providing uniforms and apparel to sports associations across Minnesota and Wisconsin for 3 decades. You might already be familiar with our products or visited one of our stores. We're the official retail provider for the University of Minnesota and University of Wisconsin, which means we stay ahead of industry needs and work with the best brands like Under Armour. And unlike our competitors, we have our own private label, allowing you to increase your profits and open up possible fundraising opportunities. All of our products are produced on site in Minnetonka, Minnesota. We're experts in embroidering, screen printing, sublimation, and heat press transfers. Did I mention that you'll receive a branded website with simple online ordering for your team, coaches, and fans? And when your order ships, you can relax knowing that a quality product will arrive on time and already organized for quick team distribution. We care about the process from beginning to end and always strive to provide a level of customer service that will exceed your expectations. We're known by the company that we keep.
All right, so thanks for listening to that. If anybody has interest in that, we will share the contact information of David Dover, who's been an individual we've worked with for a long time. So again, I just want to give a hats off and major props to all of you for your efforts this past season. I think that it truly showed that we are stronger together. I know that there was some complacency at first, or some concerns at first related to the pledge that was established. And I think, after a few tweaks here and there, I think everybody was able to jump on board, and we were able to streamline the process of positive case process, and the other things that went into the guidelines to make it successful for the last, just over 2 months of play. So again, thank you. All right. I'm just going to go through some of the hot topics that we saw. And again, if you want to provide feedback after the fact on any of these, please feel free to do so. But hopefully you had a chance to review the survey results. Some of the things that were very strong in there were related to entry fee and admissions, the no gate fee model, recruitment and retainment of officials, the desire to really ramp up trusted rankings and grade state seating, uniformity and consistency of rules. A lot of the things that came out of some of the COVID modifications, I think, are here to stay, like one-day formats, along with the ability to get your games done in a timely manner, so you have more of your day to go do other things instead of it being multiple days, and maybe the day that you do play, you play at 8 o'clock and don't play till noon. We're hoping that we can make it more efficient for everybody involved. The trusted assigners concept, which we'll talk about, the ability to enhance whatever bracketing platform that we will use, to again streamline the process to get all those results from all the tournaments that are MYBA member associations into one spot, because hopefully all those teams that you input coming up here this summer or early fall, they will all be properly identified with the team identification or naming. Those will all be the teams that can be selected, and then those would be the teams that will be put into the tournaments, and then those teams will be able to then be shifted after the conclusion of a tournament. We'll be able to go into trusted rankings, and we will exclusively utilize trusted rankings then for our seeding process for grade state, and that's the intent. Reducing games, there was a talk about that. Weeknight leagues, a focus on development rather than just winning your games, and kind of the education behind the differences between winter community-based basketball and why it's been successful in the state for so long, between that and maybe spring, summer, or as some people like to say, AAU ball. I think that's another thing that we as a alliance need to really focus in on, so people realize that there is a differentiation between what happens in spring, summer, and what happens during the months of October through March. So a preview. Again, that's kind of what I went through, the hot topics, and some of the questions that I along with Jeremy had thought of is, how does the Minnesota youth basketball community continue to enhance community-based youth basketball in Minnesota? We've done a great job for many, many years. You all have, your associations have. We've helped create the infrastructure. What are things now that we can do to continue to enhance it? How do we work together to solve the shortage of youth basketball officials? Because I think it's past the fact of us saying, well, the assigners are going to they'll continue to find people. I think all of us as leaders or that are involved in youth basketball programming, we all really need to figure out a way to get a big recruitment inside your community. And then, the greater Minnesota youth basketball, that's our job to really get that promotion out. How does the Minnesota youth basketball community continue to unify across the state of Minnesota? We know there's variations in sizes. We know that based on geographics, different things happen. I think the big thing again is making sure that we can somehow get more unified effort. And that one thing behind that means getting all those associations that did not join to come into the fold, so we can again have a streamlined communication method and everybody with more consistency in general with what's happening during the winter community-based basketball. How do we continue to promote and protect community-based youth basketball? We all know that are on this call, the awesome benefits that come with it. We all know as well that, per capita, we have one of the largest participation in the country in basketball. We also have seen that we have been able to produce a large number of people that have gone on to the next level, either college or even some that have gone on professionally. And we are all very proud of that. So it's a matter of understanding that, yeah, there's other states around us and there's other parts of the country that do it differently. But there's still a place for community-based programming and a place for the spring, summer, or fall where it's kind of an open season. All right, I'm gonna turn it over to Jeremy. A couple of things that we developed a few years back. One thing was establishing a board of advisors. At the MYS, we have never wanted to be dictators. We have always wanted to have the voice of those that are involved to be the ones to help guide and assist. Previous to me being the executive director at MYS, I ran the youth baseball program at MYS for 15 years. And it was very important that within youth baseball that we were able to establish the Gopher State Baseball Board of Advisors. And that has been an amazing asset for us. We launched that again in basketball about 2 years ago, and it has been unbelievable through the efforts of the advisory group, along with you may remember some of the members of the Return to Participation Task Force. It was unbelievable, their efforts and their assistance and guidance, because as a staff, we have a pulse as to what's going on, but you are all in the trenches and you guys understand what needs to be done, because you see it on a day-to-day basis. So that's an important component that we are going to continue to meet with the Board of Advisors. If you have any interest in being a part of that, we would love to add some new people to it. We've had some people move on as well. So if you have interest in the Board of Advisors, please join. It's not that big of a commitment. We basically have done virtual meetings, obviously, for the last 16, 17 months, but that would be awesome if anybody wanted to be a part of that. The steering committee was set up recently to focus in on these efforts that we are going to do in the direction heading into 2021, 2022, making sure to get feedback. And it was, we asked individuals that were from different areas of the state, not only within the city of Minneapolis or St. Paul, but also the suburbs, also greater Minnesota to the north and greater Minnesota to the south. And so, some of the associations are Byron, Bemidji, St. Cloud, New Prague, Brainerd, MLK, Minneapolis, Matamidi, Apple Valley, Mendota Heights, Osseo Maple Grove, Wayzata, Chaska, Owatonna, Cottage Grove. And so we wanted to have a lot of variety in there. So with that being said, I'm going to turn it over to Jeremy. He is going to give you a 10,000 foot view. And we're going to, again, as we go through this month, really break down things so you guys all have a really good understanding as far as what exactly is going into the benefits of the MYBA, what the timeline is, what is the fee, and things like that. So Jeremy, the floor is yours.
Thanks, Das. And first thing I want to do is just reiterate what Dawson said. The whole goal of our MYS staff with the MYBA effort is to provide solutions, to make things easier for you guys and gals. At the stuff that we are, I guess, producing with the MYBA portal and with the policies and procedures that we've got in place, with the exception of maybe the team composition guidelines, we realize that everything else, it is more of a recommendation. We're going to set this up and offer it to you guys, and we're confident that it is going to enhance the winter season, that it's going to be a productive tool for you guys. But at the end of the day, we realize that a lot of you, maybe find solutions in other areas. So we'll do our best to try to accommodate those as well. We will do the best we can to encourage you or to show you the benefits of the items that we're proposing to try to get that uniformity, and especially when it comes to the portal and bracketing services and tournament results and data. There is a huge benefit if everybody can be on the same page with that. But like I said, we realize that people, have different solutions for some of those issues, and we want to try to find a way to make that work as well. As far as the timeline for the upcoming season, by the end of this month, for sure by the 4th, shortly after the 4th of July, we're really shooting for the end of June. But we're going to have some things in place specifically inside the MYBA portal. And we'll have some things in place like rolling over all of the team data into the 21/22 season. Basically, what we're going to do is just bump up the grades of each of the teams. We realize there's going to be a little bit of changes on the roster, but most likely your 5th grade blue team is most likely going to consist of most of the players that were on going to be on that blue team again. So look for stuff like that. One thing that's up and running right now is the tournament listing. So you can go in there and get your tournament listed on our website. That page got a ton of traffic on our site in previous years. So there are quite a few people who do check that page out for tournament information. So make sure you get it up there. A couple things that we're going to highlight this year is the admission/gate fee set up for each tournament. Just give people a better idea of what the tournament, what they're going to be doing for admission. Another part of it is highlighting the associations that are going to use the preferred bracketing tool, which will ensure that all of your team's results will get accurately entered into the trusted ranking platform. At the end of the day, that our goal is to get as much accurate data into that trusted rankings platform as possible, so we can accurately seed our state tournaments in late February and March. So that's what's really driving a lot of this stuff with the MYBA portal and the bracketing service. So on this slide, I'll just run down these bullets quick. Inside the MYBA portal, we want to find one online or one bracketing system that ideally everybody utilizes, or at least the majority of the travel basketball associations will utilize for their tournament. We'll be able to set up online registration through there and even get the actual team accounts with the rosters attached entered into other people's tournaments. That was one of the big issues or the feedback that we received from last year, is that, association leaders were putting their rosters into the MYBA portal, but then over in Tourney Machine, the team accounts in there didn't have any rosters, which means that it also didn't have any communication functionality within that platform either. We are working to resolve that. A big benefit of people using one single platform is the team identification, the consistency with it. I'll use Edina G5 Green. That, if everybody uses the same platform, that team is going to be labeled the same all the way throughout the tournament season. If and when that happens, the data within trusted rankings is going to be 100% accurate. And that's what we want, to really utilize trusted rankings for seeding for our state tournament. We've got to have a lot of data in there, but that data also has to be accurate. Like I said, with the registrations, we're planning on getting those rosters attached and getting those actual team accounts entered into people's tournaments. And one thing that can do too is help with some eligibility. Even with the score sheets, we can get it so from your roster, the jersey numbers first name, last initial, can print out on the score sheets. That's for first round of bracket play, and if it's a pool play where the system knows which teams are playing in that game prior to you printing out those score sheets, then we can make that happen. Just a quick point back about the online registration. So if there's an association running a tournament, they would set that up right through the MYBA platform, and they could choose whether they want to take online registrations or not, and whether they want to take credit card payment and or accept check payments at a later time. Either way, tournament directors would also have the ability to, if they received a hard copy registration in the mail with a check, they could go in there and from a drop down, they could view all of the boys' 5th grade teams that are registered with the MYBA, and they can select the appropriate one. Also, we're going to put processes in place. So if a team isn't registered with the MYBA, we can still get them on your brackets and in your tournament. No issues there. No need to be restrictive. So as I mentioned before, it's an option to use the MYBA bracketing platform that we're going to put together that's another thing we're hoping for regarding the timeline. By the end of June, we're hoping to have it set up, or we're planning to have it set up where associations can set up their tournaments in there and start accepting registrations. Because we know some tournaments are close to full, starting to open up and take registrations. So we want to make sure we get that up and running in time for you. And like I said, what this does, it allows us to get accurate data into our trusted rankings platform. The trusted rankings data would be available for every tournament director to access throughout the season. And they could even use that to seed their tournaments. And that's what we're hoping for. I'll skip the trusted assigners button or bullet point there and come back to that. As far as grade state seeding process, the trusted rankings will be a big part of that. And that's maybe for the initial kind of team breakdown or the initial seeding. But then the plan is to still allow a human element similar to what we did this past winter for the grade state seeding process. We received pretty good feedback. Overwhelmingly, it was positive, but we realize even with that said, there's still some room for improvement. That's where we're going to be relying on our board of advisors and our steering committee to help us along with that. With any of these topics, give us a call, shoot us an email, let us know what you think, let us know what you like, what you don't like. Please offer some suggestions on how we can make things better. As we've said, our goal is to provide solutions for you guys and just make things work as efficiently and as best they can. We might have some what we think are good ideas on our end, but we want your feedback to really know if those are going to make sense and going to be, if you think they're going to be accepted by the majority of the associations. That's the feedback that we're looking for. Dawson, do you want to touch on the trusted signers?
Yeah, I'll bring Jeff and Buddy on here in a sec. I just want to add to what you had already said. We know that there's some associations that feel strongly about utilizing another bracketing platform like Exposure or Tourney Machine. And we know that it's going to be tough for you to make that switch. I think the big thing that we want to make sure is for you to all understand that this bracketing platform that we've already basically developed through our Game Maker system, and we're going to update it a little bit or develop a little bit more to make it custom to MYBA. And we're already in that process. We want to make it so cost effective that there's no reason why you wouldn't want to use it. And it's going to be below that $2 rate per team that you would have normally been charged previously from another service, because as an MYBA member, we want to give you the most cost effective way to do it, which then obviously provides your tournament the exclusive opportunity to automatically feed trusted rankings. There is going to be other options that if associations again feel strongly about exposure or some other service, that as long as they commit to the fact that they're going to be able to get the results to us and that all the teams are properly identified, well, that's going to be the way it is. Because again, we don't want to mandate something. We feel that this is very strongly about the fact that if we can get everybody utilizing one platform, it'll make everybody's life easier because there will be so much more connectivity with everybody involved. So with that being said, I'm gonna
Das,
yes,
sorry, if I
go
could just
ahead.
throw in a couple other things. We will have a lot more detailed information regarding that tool sent out, posted on our website within the next few weeks as well. We realize it's June. In one aspect, it's early, but on the other side of the token, we realize you guys are making lots of decisions and need to get the ball rolling on some things. Angie asked a question regarding registration. Yes, we would be able to set up so you could take online registrations for your tournament. With credit card payment or without credit card payment, you could set that up either way. We would also, there's the per team fee, but we would also, if you collected credit cards, the service fee or the processing fee would be added on top of that. But with our volume, we've got a very low rate, but that'll all be shared at a later point too. One thing that's another big benefit of using the Trusted Brackets platform, which is what we're most likely going to be calling it, is the communication features. With the rosters already attached to those teams, tournament directors can communicate via text, via email to the coaches, to the parents of the players that are playing in the tournament. By them opting, there's two different processes where it'll be an automatic send with some information, but then an opt-in, whether they want to get text alerts or game updates and that sort of thing. Again, we'll have a lot more detailed information about this posted later. And also with the registration, as I mentioned, online registration would be one thing. So if you're an association signing up for another association's tournament, you can, right through the MYBA portal, you could select the teams, place them into the divisions that you want to, pay with credit card, good to go. The other option that I mentioned quickly earlier was that if somebody does send in a hard copy registration, through a drop down, you could view all the 5th grade boys teams, for example, and then pick the appropriate team and plug it into that division.
Okay, and last thing to just mention too is that last year we had a per team fee for the MYBA membership. That no longer exists. It is literally a one-time fee of $100. That, as many of you remember, the tournament listings, when we used to have the book and when we went to online, it was $75 per tournament to list. That's automatic with you as MYBA members, that's automatically part of it, a benefit that you're able to freely post your tournaments. And so again, we'll have more details on that as well. But I'm going to turn it over to Buddy and Jeff, Jeff Stoddelmeyer and Buddy Hemrick. So if you guys want to just talk about the concept of trusted assigners, that'd be great. Buddy and Jeff, you there? Buddy? Jeff? Okay. I guess they're not on. Basically, trusted assigners is an effort by the MYAS assigners, designated assigners, who also assign a lot of your tournaments, to get a consistent pay scale and have a pay scale developed for a series of 5 to 6 years that everybody from the assigner to the official to the association that is paying for the games to be covered, everybody will know when it'll go up, when the fees will go up, just like what they do at the high school league, where there's an established pay rate. And over the course of a few years, it's updated or a raise takes place. That's the same thing that we are proposing with the trusted assigners effort. So I think the big thing is just for all the MYBA member associations to really understand that if we can maintain consistent pay, no matter who the assigner is, and the assigners that are out there, would need to buy into this concept of trusted assigners, because our other hope is that we can make sure beyond those that do MYAS administered games that we can have all officials complete appropriate training, screening, and education, so everybody within the MYBA can then understand that people are background checked. They've gone through.
Hey, Dawson, I think I'm on now. I've been muted, so I apologize for the interruption.
Okay, well, I'll finish up my thoughts and you can add on to it, but basically.
Sorry about that, but it's been.
Okay. So again, so everybody can be properly background checked, concussion trained, and any of the trusted officials training that we are updating as we speak, with the officials coordinator at the high school league and some other top officials who I happen to officiate with during the winter time. So Jeff, if you want to add on to it from an assigner's perspective, that'd be great.
All right. As far as from an assigner standpoint, we are trying to work getting all of or as many of the assigners in the state of Minnesota on board with MYS and the trusted assigners as we possibly can, so we can work with you guys to make it much easier for both you, the association, and the assigner. Like Dawson touched on, benefits for you guys would be the officials having a completed background check, concussion certification. All officials will have some sort of training done, and we are also working on a pay scale that will go out at least 6 years, giving you guys an opportunity to have your budget pretty much taken care of as far as on the official side of it. So we will roll that out at some point, but we are working on a pay scale that'll go out 6 years. And I know that would also benefit, and being on the selfish standpoint from an assigner, that would having a pay scale would definitely benefit the assigner. They know what to charge, and they're definitely not going to underbid somebody, that type of thing, and the officials know what they're going to make, etc. So we're also looking at, and I know we touched on this earlier as well, but we're also looking at through their Game Maker program, which provides the assigner to schedule the officials. You as the association can see the officials, and that way if you see an official that you don't like, you had an issue with, you can let that assigner know that, hey, I don't want this official on this court, or I don't want this official at my tournament, those types of things. So there's a benefit there. All right, Dawson, go ahead.
Well, thank you, Jeff. Yeah, I think we covered it. And again, there will be more information on that specific initiative too. Again, I think it's not necessarily requiring everybody to do a certain thing. It's so we can all be on the same page, because I've seen it a lot, or we as MYS have seen it a lot in baseball too with umpiring. There is a big wide range of what people are paying, because there is such a shortage that people are just saying, oh, we'll just pay whatever, just we need somebody to cover the game.
My email address is on the website under basketball assigners. So I absolutely welcome any kind of input, insight you want to share with us, because the more we have, the better we are as far as working together. So I welcome any kind of input you want to share with us.
Yep. All right, thank you, Jeff. So I'm going to move on. As I told you earlier, we established a steering committee for the MYBA that focuses in on what we got back from the results, along with the main things that we want to focus on, which I will go through really quickly because we're running out of time, and I wanted to give some feedback from people if they had some. But I'm going to let Ellen, who had some great thoughts on Tuesday. She is with Brainerd Basketball Association, and she sits on the steering committee. And we just wanted her to share her feedback from some of the things that she heard us talking about doing. And then just in general, if you want to just touch on some stuff, Ellen.
Hi.
Hi.
So one of my thoughts about the meeting on Tuesday was the no gate fee model and how associations can help offset that cost, because I know a concern is, do we raise the fees for our parents? Do we absorb that into our association? And so a thought I had was, leave your registration fees the way that they are. And after this last year with COVID, all of our parents are used to having someone say, if you want your wristband, it'll cost you $10. Or if you have 2 wristbands, it'll cost you $20. So they all pay the money up front right for the tournament so that they can get in. So like my 8th grade team next year will go to maybe 2, maybe 3 tournaments that are at a no gate fee model. So they'll register at our regular rate that the association charges. So my thought is, right before we get to that tournament, we invoice those parents for their gate fee. And so then it helps to offset the cost of the increased price for the no gate fee model. And it keeps the registration fee down, because like my 3rd and 4th graders, especially up here in Brainerd, I don't send them to huge tournaments in the cities. We try to stay in Staples and Crosby and go to Grand Rapids and Moorhead and stuff like that. So it's just a way to try, and the parents would still be paying the gate fee, but it wouldn't be up front, so it wouldn't be sticker shock for them. And it wouldn't be anything different than what happened over this last year. So those are my thoughts on the no gate fee model. And for the my thoughts on the offering the registration online, I think it's a really good idea, because there's a lot of tournaments out there that, or a lot of associations that don't offer online registration and do it all by paper. And I think it'd be a really great way for them to be able to utilize online registration to streamline it and to be able to get on board with the platform and the trusted rankings, and be able to name all the teams correctly the way that we need them to be named, so we can get them ranked for grade state.
All right. Well, Ellen, thank you. I appreciate that, because I think it's important that that was something that was, obviously unsolicited, because she provided her feedback to us, and we wanted to make sure that she had the opportunity, and she graciously said that she would be able to do so. So I need to go back a slide. So thank you again, Ellen, for participating in that. Okay, so we're kind of now on the last part that I'm just going to fly through, because again, we will share this in more detail as we go. So some of the things that we've established from your feedback, from the steering committee, from our thoughts internally with our strategies that we've had as a staff. Obviously the big thing, and I know that Ellen was talking about it a little bit, of the clear and concise promotion of admissions for each association's invitational tournament. It looks like, again, this year, last year there was going to be a big push prior to COVID anyway, of the no gate fee model. I know people basically were forced into it. There were some people that were going to do it anyway. And I think right now it looks like literally about half and half of what it's going to be this year for no gate fee models or the normal admissions as you enter into the building. So I think that it's going to be very important to really ramp up the communication through the tournament listings, through your promotion of your own tournament. You know, some of the things like what Ellen talked about, because our big concern as MYS is the effect this has on the smaller organizations, the smaller associations, if there are only no gate fee model tournaments available. And so some of the ideas like what Ellen mentioned, or establishing an installment plan, which is kind of a mainstay in sports like soccer. I had to do that with my daughter Kylan, where because of the fee, you know, people do an installment throughout the year. But there are ways to get around it. I think the big thing is just being open and transparent, so associations and teams can plan accordingly. So player eligibility, you know, there was even a situation in grade state that after grade state took place, we did our due diligence, and we were notified that an individual was playing on a team that he was not originally rostered on. The organization lead, who is on this call tonight, she took it upon herself because she wanted to maintain the integrity of her program, and she removed the medals and the team trophy from that team, stripped them of that, and because she wanted to make sure that they knew how important it was to maintain the integrity of the rules and regulations that are part of traveling basketball. With the player eligibility, I think the big thing is just to assistance in upholding the guidelines. And I think through a compliance feature, and you guys, I think, became familiar, some of you, with the U.S. Council for Athletes Health. I'm working with Dr. Craig Perry to have a better way of establishing eligibility and maintaining that, so there is not an ability for a few people to skirt around the rules and have multiple people playing on, you know, if there's 12 people listed, they technically have 18 to 20, and we don't want that, because we're only as good as everybody that's participating. And I think that's the thing that we all need to do better as an alliance, is making sure that we are all in full communication. So if there is bleacher talk, that we can try to nip it in the bud and get down to the root of what is going on. So marketing campaign, promoting participation, good sportsmanship, officials, recruitment and retainment, and the importance of winter community-based basketball. We talked about that before. I know we've started with the whole good sportsmanship, officials and highlighting them, but we really need to ramp it up more. And I think in general, even the participation part of us trying to help recruit people participating, and that's would be a team effort where we can provide you guys tools to get that out to your communities. Because I know, for example, my daughter, who is going to be 7th grade, plays traveling basketball. There are literally only 7 girls in her grade that play traveling basketball. And I think that happens a lot within girls basketball in general, to try to boost that number, because we want to try to get people to promote, to participate in more than just the one sport, where they can be multi-sport athletes. I talked about it before, officials, recruitment and retainment. We have a plan behind it. This is near and dear to my heart, because I'm a high school basketball official for the last 21 years. Establishing more, because we used to do this a lot, in-person and online training for traveling in-house, and establishing specific tournaments that would provide on-court training for new and beginning officials. That's available at the high school level and preseason opportunities prior to the season. In youth, there is not that opportunity, and we as MYS need to make sure to help that process by getting people on-court training, because if they have that ability to get some on-court training with some veteran people there to help facilitate that and work with them and be mentors for them, they will get through those first couple games while they trip over that invisible umbilical cord that's wrapped around that court. They'll help manage that better. So, and you know, the other comment is, and you all know this, if we don't have officials, we don't have games. So it's up to all of us to try to figure out how we can recruit and retain officials inside your community. It starts with you and your house program, and then it's the feeder system into traveling, because ultimately us as the MYBA, we're the feeder for the high school league. And so we need to keep that alive, because unfortunately I'm 44 and I'm considered young still in officiating, and that's not good. So we need to try to really ramp up that roster and pool of officials. The other big focus that we heard a lot was, winning or the number of games versus development. We all know and understand how important development and training is, but I know that based on our model that has been established in Minnesota, obviously tournaments are very important, for one, because it's a fundraising mechanism for everybody. But I think we need to figure out a way to have that balance. And through our Rising Stars Basketball Academy, we're going to establish some things with that. We're gonna create coaches clinics, player development, parent education in September, October, that if your association wants to take advantage of it, you can, because we got a lot of feedback from people saying, I wish you had coaches clinics, or if there are more opportunities for parents. And we're going to provide those opportunities in different areas of the metro, so you can take advantage of that if you so choose as an association. And we're going to try to figure out a way for it to be a greatly reduced discounted price, so you don't have to worry about the cost per person. The other thing that we've heard a lot of, again, this is all coming back mostly from smaller associations or smaller, medium-sized associations, that they don't have as much reciprocity with other associations. And so they're historically playing in our winter shootouts or previously Super Savers, but they want to figure out another cost-effective way. And there's been a lot of people who have talked about a winter league concept. And we are going to move forward with that. Again, the last thing we want to do is compete with the association's tournaments, and we're going to make sure to not do that, where we're going to maybe lessen the amount of winter shootouts that we have available, but also create this opportunity to have a league concept as well. So those are some of the things that we have thought of and focused on from the feedback we've received. So I guess with that being said, it's 7:55. There's a lot of great people on this call that have given a lot of time and energy and effort to youth basketball. So if anybody would like to freely make a comment, if they have a question, voice a concern, please do so now. The floor is open to all of you.
I apologize for getting in late. I've been listening since the start of the meeting, so for whatever reason it was muted. So I sincerely apologize, everyone, and when I was rushed in and making my comments. So again, my email address is on the website, on MYS's website, under basketball assigner. It's Jeff Stoddelmeyer. I welcome any input you want to share with me.
Hey, Jeff, also let you know, I did put it in the chat so everybody can see it there, as well as it being on our website. Somebody did ask a question. What's the minimum age to be an official? I know for like in-house leagues or rec leagues, there's plenty of high school kids that are doing those games. So that's a great place to start.
18.
What about for traveling turn? 18?
18.
Okay.
I mean, we will take them at 16, but basically the age is 18. So if they're 16, we'll get them started.
Okay, thanks, Jeff. Anybody else have anything they'd like to add?
Here's a thought on the officiating recruiting.
Yep.
We have a captive audience at every community every weekend, and we don't have anything available in terms of just information about if I want to be official, if I want, what's the process, what's the training. I think if there's something that we could put together, I'll speak for myself. I'd be willing to have it out at every location for our tournament and capture the big brother, big sisters that are there, and the high school kids or whatever that are there. But there's just nothing that we have available now. So make something available, and at least we'll get foot traffic, every weekend.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a great idea, Dave. That kind of goes to what I had talked about with the marketing that we need to do, and we need to provide you guys the resources so you can get it out to people inside your community, and that's what our goal is. So it's a great thought. Anybody else have anything?
While people are thinking of things to say, I'll throw out there too, another thing to do within the MYBA portal is to go ahead and get your tournaments listed on the index. Even before you activate or become a member for the upcoming season, you can still go ahead and do that. Also, I'd recommend getting your board members updated. If you've had some turnover, some elections, go in there and get those updated, please. Somebody put in the comments or in the chat about getting tournaments done in a shorter amount of time. That was something that we saw a lot of feedback on in the survey that we sent out. You know, it seems for the most part that with the back-to-back games that we did over the last year or so, for the most part, those seem to go okay. You know, 3 I think is definitely a little much, but I definitely think the parents love the opportunity to get in and out of the gym.
Yeah, Rick, how you doing, buddy? Yes, I agree with you that I think the one-day opportunities are here to stay. I know a number of the people in the survey said that they're going to move forward with one-day tournaments. So if they're maybe running a weekend, they may concentrate on having their boys on one day and girls on the other. But they're going to try to have that ability to play 3 games in the day. You know, like Jeremy's saying, you have back-to-back, sit a game or 2, and then play your final game. So.
Guys, I was just wondering, and this is maybe, I don't know the right answer. I'm just wondering if this would be beneficial, but could you possibly do a spreadsheet with all the associations and just have a check gate fee, no gate fee? Just for the sake of, I know when we go to meeting, like our original meeting last year when we discussed it, one of the things was we just said, let's hold on and wait to see, you know, what similar associations were doing. Maybe what are a majority of the tournaments we normally go to doing. I don't know if that would provide some, you know, additional information for associations that haven't made that decision yet.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea, Jesse. We kind of did that during the summer last year, but that was more for around the metro. And I know this is something that we have already added to the tournament listing as well. So our hope too is that we would push people to get their tournaments on as quick as possible. So that information will automatically be on there. So yeah, I put a note that we can make sure to, you know, emphasize the fact that everybody's making their decisions here and they're trying to plan and prepare for what additional funds are needed. So I think it's important that, Jeremy, do you have a date that you're trying to get everybody to get their tournaments on by?
Sooner the better. I think a good goal would be, you know, just like in the past with when we used to do the flyer book, that deadline was first part of July. So, you know, if people get that first part of July, middle part of July, I think that'd be helpful for everybody. And one other thing to mention about that on that tournament listing, the no gate fee, right now you got to click on, you know, more details to view that information. That will be something that'll be in that initial view. So you don't have to click in or click through it, anything else to see that.
All right.
Yeah,
Anybody?
if that doesn't, you know, get too much traction, if people are a little bit late on getting that up there, we could always look at, you know, doing a Google form or something like that we could send out to all the association leaders and ask them to put their information up there regarding the no gate fee model.
A quick question regarding the using the portal for tournament listings. If we choose to accept credit card payments, would MYBA or MYAS serve as kind of the clearinghouse for the money, and then the dollars would be sent to the associations?
Exactly. That would be the plan. And we'd have all that itemized, listed, knowing, you'd know what you're getting into ahead of time as far as what the credit card processing fees would be. And I'm thinking right now, run this by our steering committee. But we'd take in all those dollars once the tournament's done. We'd have that all itemized, but then, deduct the credit card fees and the per team for scheduling, and then send you the payment either electronically or a check. And the tournament listing and the bracketing functionality, that will be two different things. So you can go ahead and get your tournament listed on the tournament listing now. And then once the bracketing stuff is ready to go, you can come back and do that at a later time.
Michelle had a great thought that she put in the chat, Jeremy, with the, that a lot of the times that's on somebody's flyer, but it's not necessarily in that view that they can quickly
Sure.
find the tournament director's email address. It's a good ad.
Yep.
Okay, anybody else? Anybody else have anything they want to add? It's now 8:04 and we're past the time that I said that you guys would need to be on here. So,
Hey, Dawson.
yes. Hi, Scott.
Scott Finney from Edina Basketball Association. I just wanted to, it sounds like we're about to wind down here. I just wanted to thank you and Jeremy and the rest of the leadership team at MYS, MYBA for getting through a very, very trying year. I think everyone on the phone here, we know exactly what it's like to try to get through and navigate a COVID year. But I know you guys did that, times a few. And it doesn't, it's very much recognized and appreciated what you guys did. So thank you.
Yeah, Scott, that means a lot coming from you because of the extra stuff we had to deal with together with stuff that happened during our grade state experience. But thank you for saying that. That means a lot.
And with our task force too, they were amazing. They were the ones that drove a lot of that information and provided the templates and the documents for us. So we definitely couldn't have done it without that group as well. And also Craig Perry with the Council for Athletes Health was very vital in that as well.
All right, with that being said, I just want again to thank all of you. I mean, there's a lot of people on this call that I've gotten to know really well over the last year, and I want to continue that because I love relationships and I want to, again, hear feedback, good, bad, and different. Obviously, that's the only way that we can make things better because we're not here to just say this is how we're going to do it and this is what you need to do. We feel strongly about something, but if we need to shift it, I mean, even on Tuesday, the feedback we got from the steering committee was fabulous. And it allowed us to have a different perspective on how we move forward with some things within the MYBA offerings this year. So do not hesitate to email us. We will get more information out as this month goes on. And to Jesse's point, the quicker that we can get information even related to gate fee, no gate fee out to everybody. So people, as they're planning and preparing and everything like that. So we are here to be a resource for all of you and to help again steer the ship. That's what our goal is, to just steer the ship. So everybody have a great evening and thank you for joining tonight. Enjoy the hot and steamy weekend. Take care.